Welcome to Beyond the Broadsheet, a podcast by the Lincoln County News. We are a community newspaper based in Mid-Coast, Maine, and provide the most comprehensive, in-depth coverage available anywhere of the 18 towns and one plantation that make up Lincoln County. My name is Christina Brown, and I'm a reporter here at LCN covering the towns of Bristol, South Bristol, Bremen, and Noblesboro.
And my name is Emily Bracher, and I'm a reporter here at LCN covering the towns of Damariscotta, Newcastle, Edgecombe, and Whitefield. This week, we are sadly saying goodbye to Christina as she celebrates her last podcast with us, and will later be interviewing Pricsilla and Jennifer from Coastal Kids Preschool in Damariscotta after they celebrated their 30th birthday. But first, here are our top stories from the Thursday, April 23rd edition of the paper.
In news out of Bristol, after Bristol residents voted down the education budget during the annual town meeting, the budget and school committees are disagreeing on the revised proposal residents will consider next week. The updated education budget was unanimously accepted by the Bristol School Committee on April 10th and rejected by the Bristol Budget Committee in a vote of 6-4 on April 13th. Residents, Budget Committee members, and School Committee members spent over 2 hours at the March 17th annual town meeting discussing the education budget, particularly Article 40 regarding the $332,000 system administration line, an increase of 41.27% from last year. Housed within the line are funds for Bristol's assessment for the superintendent and executive director positions within Johns Bay Coastal Alliance Education Service Center. As of July 1, Bristol and South Bristol will withdraw from AOS 93 to form a two-town education service center. The Bristol Budget Committee unanimously voted against recommending the system administration line, citing a high cost compared to the size of the student body at Bristol Consolidated School. After Article 40 was not approved by voters, a motion was made to not consider Articles 47 and 48, which covered raising and appropriating the total cost of the budget. The motion passed, and the final cost of the budget was not considered. An updated budget was approved by the school committee following a budget workshop on Thursday, April 2nd, but had to be revised as it proposed changes to the cost center for school administration, which was already approved by voters at the town meeting. The latest version of the budget now only contains a change in the system administration budget, which came from a reduction in the scope of the role for an unfilled executive system administration position. According to AOS 93 Executive Director of Finance Peter Nielsen, who will become the Executive Director of Johns Bay Coastal Alliance on July 1, the central office staff for Johns Bay Coastal Alliance Education Service Center reviewed the work the position covered and determined that many of the tasks could be redistributed to the business office team and other existing staff. During a Budget Committee meeting on April 13th, the Budget Committee failed to recommend the budget with a vote of 6-4, saying the cost of the system administration line was still too high and lacked transparency. When asked by Budget Committee member Chuck Hansen what the plan is if the budget doesn't pass at the special town meeting, School Committee Chair Becky Cooper said there was no plan. She said, quote, "There isn't a plan because July 1, we are out of the AOS, so if you don't give us a chance to make this work, you are just sinking our ship, and it's a ship full of children." Later on, Cooper said the school committee made a sincere attempt to lower the budget, and she said it is, quote, "willing to stand by it even in the face of negativity." Residents will consider the revised education budget at the special town meeting at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, April 28th at Bristol Consolidated School.
Last week, Hannah Meneses of Whitefield and Cameron Ryan of Waldoboro were awarded the Maine Sheriff's Association Presidential Valor Awards on April 9th in the recognition of their bravery. On March 28, 2025, Meneses made the split-second decision to jump into Davis Stream in Jefferson to rescue a driver out of his sinking car. Ryan jumped in after her to assist in breaking the car's window to get the driver out. A year later, Meneses said the experience changed her life. She said the adrenaline carried her through the rescue. She was driving over the bridge when she noticed something in the water. After pulling over, she said she asked the group of bystanders if there was someone in the water. When someone told her the driver was still there, she sprung into action. Once she and Ryan broke the back window of the car, she said she felt she had made a big mistake as water started flooding the car. The driver, Richard Pauley of Wesley, Massachusetts, was able to free himself from the car and was guided to the shore by Meneses. She said she still thinks about the situation every day and says she hasn't gone swimming since. She said her biggest advice coming out of this situation is to be aware of your surroundings, and if you have a slight notion something might be wrong, it is always worth it to stop and check. Since the rescue, Meneses said local emergency management teams, the fire departments, and Lincoln County Sheriff's Office has been overwhelmingly supportive.
Definitely a very heroic act by Manassas. So, and news out of Jefferson. Jefferson residents approved all but 2 articles at their annual town meeting by referendum on Tuesday, April 21st. Article 3, which would allow the town to charge 7% interest on personal and real estate taxes after October 1, was not approved with a vote of 165 to 176. Article 17, which asks voters to appropriate $60,000 from unreserved surplus to go towards the cost of property revaluation, was also not approved by a vote of 171 to 200. The revaluation is slated to be completed by March 2027 and will cost roughly $275,000. According to the 2024 town report, as of December 31st, 2024, there was approximately $94,954 from the assessor's line reserved for the revaluation. The remainder of the amount would need to be raised over the following 2 years in $60,000 increments. Residents approved the amount last year, and this was supposed to be Jefferson's second year raising the $60,000. Deputy Town Clerk Cody Rochazil said the town is consulting with a lawyer to determine the next steps of the process for both of the rejected articles. All other articles were approved by voters, including the municipal budget, which totals $1,681,490.62, an increase of just over $127,000 or 9.61% from last year. Voters also elected municipal offers during the meeting by referendum. Robert Clark ran unopposed for the select board and was reelected with 307 votes. School committee incumbent Maria Solizano was reelected with 191 votes, along with newcomer Suzanne Williamson with 199 votes. School committee chair Danielle Bernier and newcomer Alpha Williams received 182 votes and 144 votes, respectively. Budget committee incumbents Sheridan Bond and Donna Williams were reelected with 202 votes and 233 votes, respectively. Newcomer Richard Parlin Sr. received 155 votes. A total of 387 votes were cast.
A small wetland area in Wiscasset is a cleaner, healthier habitat for spring peepers and other wildlife thanks to a group of volunteers who saw an issue and took action. A photo posted to the Wicked Good Wiscasset Facebook page on March 21st showed a vernal pool located next to the Shaw Supermarket at 670 Bath Road. Loose trash floated on the surface of the water. Plastic bags were tangled in the branches of surrounding trees. Sam Caton and his brother Tom, both of Woolwich, are regular shoppers at Shaw's, and after securing permission from the supermarket, they showed up on Saturday, March 29th with a small group that included Wicked Good Wiscasset administrators Julie Kettlehut and Loretta Moore-Slayton. Armed with rakes, gloves, and garbage bags, they spent several hours clearing the pond and surrounding woods of litter. Shaw's store director Michael Hill said he was initially taken aback when the Catons proposed the cleanup. He said the store's regular landscaping crew keeps the property mowed and the parking lot well maintained throughout the year and completes a thorough seasonal cleanup once the risk of snow is over. However, that cleanup had not yet happened, and Hill said he was happy to have the volunteers begin the process and very impressed by the end result of their efforts. With the cleanup time to the breeding season for spring peepers, it provided a more welcoming environment for young frogs. For Sam Caton, that was the most important benefit. They have more of a chance to survive, he said. Everything's stacked against them. They really need all the help they can get.
6 people are facing a variety of drug and assault charges after allegedly keeping an individual against his will for almost a week at a private residence in Waldoboro. According to a series of affidavits filed with the Lincoln County Unified Court, the Waldoboro Police Department became aware of a situation after the victim went to Maine Health Lincoln Hospital emergency room in Damariscotta for the treatment. In an affidavit describing events, Waldoboro police officer Christopher T. Hine said the victim had visible cuts, lacerations, and bruises on his head, sternum, and legs. According to Hine, the individual said he had been riding in a car with a friend when the car broke down on Wagner Bridge Road in Waldoboro. As the car was being towed away, the friend said he knew people who lived nearby. Together, the two friends walked to 80 Reef Road. The victim alleged it was agreed he would be allowed to stay at the house while transportation was being arranged, but he would be required to do chores. Shortly into his stay, the victim alleged he was accosted by 4 people, including one of the residents of the home, Russell W. Harden, and 3 other people the victim knew as Skinny, Shane, and Pablo. According to the victim, he was beaten, received death threats, and had his possessions stolen from him. He was released from the residence after 6 days and went to the hospital to receive treatment. He said he witnessed multiple drug sales, a .22 caliber handgun, cash kept in a safe, and 2 other people being beaten. On April 15th, assisted by the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, Maine Drug Enforcement Agency, Maine State Police Tactical Team, and Maine Warden Service, Waldoboro police officers executed a search warrant at 80 Reef Road. As a result of the investigation and the search of the premises, law enforcement arrested 6 individuals on various charges. Hardin, 44, of Waldoboro; Curtis, 26, of St. George; Adonis Morrill Tavares, 18, of New York; and Shane R. Jones, 38, of South Thomaston, were all charged with kidnapping, robbery, elevated aggravated assault, theft by unauthorized taking, criminal threatening, and terrorizing. Homeowner Glenn Hardin, 72, Russell Hardin's father, was arrested on an unrelated outstanding warrant. All 6 individuals were arraigned via Zoom in West Bath District Court on Friday, April 17th. As of Wednesday, April 22nd, the 6 remain in custody at Two Bridges Regional Jail in Wiscasset. Bail is set at $50,000 for Russell Hardin, Jones, Udy, and Curtis, $30,000 for Tavares, and $5,000 for Glenn Hardin.
And our character of the county this week is Mike Nybo, who is still a child at heart. Every June for the past 27 years, the South Bristol community convenes at a local boat launch to witness the launch of skiffs built by members of the South Bristol School's 8th grade class with support from volunteers at Maine Maritime Museum in Bath. For years, the skiffs were launched from the Bittersweet Landing boatyard, although it had moved over to the public landing near the South Bristol Co-op. For all of those years, Bittersweet Landing boatyard owner Mike Nybo has done the honors of lowering the boats into the water, as he has every year since 2013, when a Washington, D.C.-based nonprofit put the school on notice that a traditional blessing of the fleet at a school function was a constitutional violation. Nybo has added his own touch to the proceedings. To learn more about Nybo, pick up a copy of this week's paper or go to lcnme.com.
Coastal Kids Preschool at 12 Jackie's Trail in Damariscotta recently celebrated 2 big events this month. A reading at Skedumpa Library with children's author X Fang on April 18th and their 30th birthday on April 4th. Here to talk about the events are Pricsilla Congdon, the founder of Coastal Kids Preschool, and Executive Director Jen Caron. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So to get started, can you talk us through the history of Coastal Kids and why it was founded?
Certainly. Well, it was back in 1995, and I actually answered an ad in a paper for an inclusive program. They needed someone to direct and be the head teacher of a brand new program they were starting. And the reason it was started was because in our local area, there was really a lack of preschool placements for children with special needs and also typical preschool placements. So a consortium founded by Child Development Services, which covered the special education, and what was Union 74, got together with several other organizations and secured grants for 3 years of funding a new program. And they also secured the old Bremen School, which is now the town hall. And that was also secured for 3 years. So I jumped at the chance because that was really what my lifelong mission was, to have inclusive programming. Because when I first started back in 1975, that was not the norm. In fact, there was just a law, I think right around 1975 when I first started, that made it. It was a mandate that all public school, that all special needs students needed to be taught with their typically developing peers in public schools. So once I moved up here in 1995, that's why I decided to become a part of the program. And we were in the Bremen School for 3 years, and then unfortunately, the grants dried up. We weren't able to secure any more, and then the program was offered to me. if I chose to continue. And of course, it was really a no-brainer for me. As of course I will. But so they gave me these 3 or 4 bankers boxes and said, here you are, start your own program and secure yourself a board. And I knew nothing about running nonprofits. It was so it was a real struggle the first few years, getting us going. But thankfully, I had the help of some really committed parents. I had three parents who came and joined the board. Were our president, secretary, and our treasurer, and they really found at the heart of it. That was how we started from the ground up, and it was a real struggle the first few years, and we went through a lot of moves. And make a long story short, our last move was at the Belvedere Road, and then folks who were on the board at that time said, you really ought to think about buying your own building, because we had moved every 3 years. Because renting to a preschool is not exactly what a lot of places want to do. So we did, with the help of USDA Rural Development grants and some other funding, we were able to purchase our present building at Jackie's Trail.
That's incredible. And it's a beautiful building, too. For any listeners that haven't been inside it, it's really nice.
We took the old part of the building, and then we added on because we quickly outgrew it.
Yeah, we were living out of bathroom storage. The old upstairs bathroom, the tub, we put bookcases inside it, and we were just jammed packed. And so there was a big movement of the board back at that time to do an addition. Which made a huge difference. Yeah,
we really had, and that's when we really expanded our board, got a lot of wonderful community members on, and they really spearheaded a capital campaign that a lot of the other community, our wider community members said, that it couldn't be done at the time. And, they just went ahead, and by gosh, they did it. And, we're so grateful to them and all the other community members who really helped support us in those early years of just getting that program, getting our building completed.
Absolutely. And so earlier this month, you celebrated your 30th birthday, so your 30th school year. Can you tell me a little bit about the event and what planning it was like?
So we started back in September thinking about how, the start of our 30th school year, how do we want to celebrate it? Looking back at our history and how many pieces had to fall into place to make it to 30 years. So many community members, so many corporate sponsors that are just local, so many grants, so many loans, and anonymous donors that really kept our school going. How could we give back to that community that gave so much to us? So we knew we needed to do a major fundraiser, which was our auction event, which we're not really focusing on today, but we had to do a major fundraiser, but also wanted to give back to the community. So we bookended our major fundraiser with the 30th birthday celebration and the Scanampa event. And it was really important to us to make sure that they were accessible for, just like our mission, all ages, all abilities, and come if you're available. And that really was the heart of it, to celebrate the 30 years. And this birthday celebration, we wanted to see how many people we have touched through the years, whether it be donors, families, students, staff. And that was really fun to see. We had a lot of former alumni students there. And that was really great to see how they've grown and blossomed in their story. It was a really good turnout. We were happy with how that progressed. We had a lot of help making that come together.
Absolutely. And one of the things I noticed at the event that I thought was super sweet was this art installation fence that the kids got to paint. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So one of the things when I started to take over as executive director, our grounds were really pretty, pristine, but I kind of wanted to make it more kiddish, a little bit more kiddish. And so we have these giant granite rocks in the front that, for spoiler alert, in the future, next spring, we're about a year out, we're turning those into sea creatures, our installation sea creatures. But in the meantime, we wanted to do something that tied the community that would stay in our building. And at first it was like maybe handprints or a tree, but it didn't quite feel right. And you've been in the building, our wall space is very limited. So what could we do outside? And we have we had an amazing board of volunteers, or a committee of volunteers, excuse me. And on that committee, there were a few parents that are artists. And one of those parents were like, how about you do a fence installation? And I was like, send me a picture of what that looks like, because I didn't see the vision when they had said it. And so once they sent the picture over, I was like, this is what we're doing. And then it kind of evolved from there. It was the materials that were available, and how we're going to hang it up. Should it be a loose standing fence, or can it be attached to an existing fence that we add to every year? And that's sort of how it evolved. And now that it's set up, it looks so amazing. And the way that we had set it up, that there's spaces in between. So each school year, we want each graduating class to participate in building and painting their own picket fence to add to our fence. And so we have about 15 fence posts that are done, and some of them were done by one individual and others were done by multiple individuals. So it's a real eclectic art piece that I love.
Absolutely. And it's such a great way for the kids to be involved in that, and like literally making their mark on the school, which is really cool.
They're excited. They get their picture. If they did participate in one, they were like, look at me, look at this, can you take my picture? And then we just participated in the Week of the Young Child through NACI, and 2 of our classrooms, our youngest toddler classrooms, added to the fence. So they made their own, which is also.
So on April 18th, you guys hosted a author reading at Scadumpa with X Fang, who she is known for her book, We Are Definitely Human. And tell me a little bit about the event and what went into planning it.
So we actually didn't have a whole lot into planning that. It was one of those events that were just so it organically came together. An idea came out through the development committee. Abby Iverson, who's our development director, went with it and met with Scadumpa librarian, and it just sort of all between Abby, Marley Rennie, who's our development chair, a former board member of ours, Caron Mook, and X-Pain herself, it just sort of all came together. And Scadumpa was so excited to partner with us. And they ended up sponsoring the event. So we had them sponsor it. Barn Door Bakery ended up donating some of the food that we had there. And X-Fang came. She had just gone to Great Salt Bay to do a presentation. So some of the kids there were familiar with it and were excited and got a chance. My own daughter, for example, got a chance to talk to her real quick about the presentation she did at Great Salt Bay. And to see that follow through at different levels and different age groups was really, really neat to see. And she was naturally just so great with the kids, and she spent time afterwards autographing individually each child's book, making them their own little We're Definitely Human character.
What is the importance of events like this and the message that X-Fang was trying to, give to the kids?
I think it's important to have events like this so kids can see their community and see that we're all together, that we're all here. We all may act different, look different, be different, but we're definitely human. We're all in this together. They were children, they were infants all the way up to older ages like us, Pricsilla. And, it was just great to see the community come together for a story. And they were so excited they had her read her other previous book as well, which wasn't planned. So that was just very, it also just shows the importance of adults really being out there and fostering children's love of learning. Kids are so excited to have adults read to them, interact with them, be with them. Becky and her team dressed up as the aliens, which was just an amazing touch. And it, brought a smile to everyone's face. But that interaction and those moments are so magical for kids. And it just shows that this is a really cool and safe place for us to be raising our families.
Yeah. And you touched on it a little bit earlier, but just what are partnerships with Scadumpa like, and how is that also adding on to the importance of these events?
There's many, but one of them, I think the biggest piece is that community factor. We're all hubs trying and doing our best as nonprofits to serve the people of this community. And if we can do it together, that's so much more powerful and impactful. And it also ties all the connections for the kids, right? They go to school, they go to library. Well, here they are, these two worlds like coming together and colliding. That's pretty fantastic as a child to see, like, that's my librarian, that's my teacher. And then just putting names to faces also is so huge. And we're really all just working hard together to raise this community that we have, and coming together and celebrating it is beautiful, and it just kind of just revitalizes you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the kids really did shout encore.
Yes, they
they
did.
really wanted to read more. And the aliens were a really great surprise. It was a wonderful event.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
And watching X-Fang giggle and try to get through reading it with the aliens dancing behind her.
Yeah.
And Barn Door's space cookies that they made that fit the color scheme of the book those were gone so fast.
Oh, yeah.
But those were a huge hit.
Yeah, and then the kids being able to bring home copies of the books
Yes.
as well. For those interested in Coastal Kids, whether that's supporting or finding out about events.
Yeah, for more information, our website would be the best place to go. It has all of our contact information on there. We usually respond within 24 hours for all inquiries or emails.
We're really excited to see your future events in the sea creature installations.
Yes.
That's going to be really great. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
And is there anything else that you would like to include before we wrap up?
Yeah, if you're looking for volunteer opportunities or a way to support us, please just reach out. My email is on the website. We are always looking for readers that would love to come and sit and play. I often get asked, really, you want somebody just to come in and read or play? But it's so powerful to see an adult without any screens or any jobs or any other dinner to cook or any other commitments, just sit on the floor with the kids and play. And it makes such a huge difference. So yes, we need people to come play. You can also support us financially, and all of that is found on our website.
Well, Jen and Priscilla, thank you so much for coming and
Thank
talking
you.
to us today.
As we said in the intro, this will be Christina's last podcast with us as she starts on her next endeavor. So before the second segment, we wanted to take a moment to highlight some of the work she has done throughout her time with LCN.
Yeah, so it definitely feels really weird that this is my final podcast. It's something that I've loved doing, and I've looked forward to recording every Friday. But yeah, I've been going around and saying goodbye to all of my town offices and friends in the county. And, although I'm excited for what's to come next, it's definitely been very sad to have to say goodbye. But this has just been such a great experience to be able to cover the county, and it's just been a privilege to get to know people as well.
Yeah, and is there anything you're the most proud of during your time here?
Yeah, so I did a lot of coverage on Johns Bay Coastal Alliance Education Service Center. So I was the one to break that story. And it was really cool to be able to really see it through and consistently cover it, which was really cool. And I learned a lot about it, and just seeing the community impact and all of that. I did a lot of coverage on the pickleball court in Round Pond. There was some, what we have called a pickleball debacle going on there. So that was definitely interesting to cover. I also got to go cover a Gardens Aglow media night, which is really cool at the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens. And definitely covering Pumpkin Fest was a lot of fun. Getting to do the event at Coastal Kids, which we're going to talk more about them in a little bit. Seeing the pumpkin derby with all the little kids and their decorated pumpkins and all of the pumpkin art. And yeah, it's been a really good time, and I'm just very grateful for all of the experiences.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. And what is next?
So my husband and I are moving back to Bangor to be closer to family. And I'm also relaunching a blog. So it was a project that started in my senior year of college through multimedia journalism class, we had to run a blog. And so I started the Maine Melody, where I was reporting on classical music in Maine, really through an education lens. So the goal was that anyone who came to my blog would be able to learn something new about music that maybe they didn't know. And I decided that I wanted to relaunch that and just be posting more consistently. So if you go to themainmelody.com, you can check out my blog, and I'll be updating more there. And yeah, I'll miss the county a lot, but I'm very excited for what's to come. So,
well, we are very excited for you, and we will miss you so much.
Thank you. I will miss you as well.
With Christina's departure, the podcast will be going on hiatus for a little bit, but in some big news, we have 3 new reporters joining us in the span of the year. In June, we have Morgan Van Alstale and Lily Wasserman who will be joining us. And then in September, we have Selma O'Malley. So we're very excited to welcome them on the team. And I would say to look more into the podcast starting in June, but there might be some more episodes along the way. We don't know, but we're very excited to welcome these girls to our team and see how everything goes. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Broadsheet, a podcast by the Lincoln County News. This podcast is produced by Lucas McNelly and Maya Ziebert. Tyler Davis of Tyality Productions provides production support. Our theme music is by Stu Mahan and LCN Associate Editor / Bassist Sherwood Olin. The Lincoln County News hits newsstands across the county every Wednesday afternoon. And you can also access our work online at lcnme.com. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion, please email us at info@lcnme.com. As always, we're grateful for the support of our readers and listeners in Lincoln County and beyond. It's been great catching up today, and we'll talk with you again soon.